Welcome to this UFC 307 fight preview main card prediction video. Going straight onto the first fight of the main card, Dolidze versus Holland. So Kevin Holland coming back in. He lost against Michael Venom Page, obviously. But overall, I think he's done well. I think he's good enough. I think, okay, he might be a bit below Michael Venom Page's level on the stand-up. I think it was a bit awkward how he didn't try to get the takedown early. Whether he could or couldn't, that's a question. But against Dolidze, I do find that Dolidze has to be faster than he is. I think in that Smith fight where he did win, it showed he wasn't fast at all. He wasn't moving at all, really. Smith wasn't either, to be honest with you. But Holland will move. He will catch you, and he will counter you and wait for them counters to happen. So if you're stood still, you're not a moving target against Holland. I don't think you can go above the level of Holland, to be honest, as a fighter who doesn't move enough, hasn't got that sort of movement on the feet. It's going to be a major problem for Dolidze just standing still or getting hurt with his hands up. To be honest, in boxing you can do it probably more with them gloves and standing still. Holland's going to catch you with them kicks as well. He's going to catch you to the body with kicks as well. So I think it's very difficult for him to stand up with Holland. Holland is so much more fluid with the game as well. He's happy to move around and get the movement going when he needs to. And I don't see Dolidze getting to the ground and making any real difference on there. So I've got a KO, TKO for Holland. I think Dolidze, look, he's got to a good position, really. That Smith victory is very good for him. But the improvement of the game needs to be quite drastic to get above Holland, to be honest. Holland is that sort of guy who really shows who is better to be a contender, potentially, and who isn't. So I think Holland gets it done by KO, TKO. On to the next fight. Vera versus Kayla Harrison. Obviously, Kayla Harrison coming from judo originally. Already had a few fights, especially in PFL. Got signed by the UFC. Beat Holly Holm by rear naked choke and did very well in that fight. Vera's done well in her career. I think 1 year splits the two in age. I don't think that's... But I think you do have to look at judo versus MMA in that. Vera's had a lot of fights in MMA, took a lot of punches over that time of her career, whereas Kayla Harrison's really been a judo fighter for basically the same career in a sense of it. And judo's probably, look, there's items where, you've worn your body down, you've been at top level of a sport. But I think, MMA is going to hurt you more, to be honest with you, especially with the knockouts and the punches you take. That sort of thing is straight away going to make a differential for you. And I think Kayla Harrison is a top specialist in judo. I think she happily dealt with Holly Holm. Where Holly Holm was in her career, okay, that's a question, but I think the speciality of her to get it to the ground and do that shows it translates to the UFC. We sort of knew it would, but it does show it. She's also okay on the stand-up to the point where, I'm saying okay, I mean, she's good enough not to get absolutely destroyed before she can get it to the ground, which is the entire point of the game. You're the best in judo. Look, let's not go for a KO, but let's stay on the stand-up enough to go, okay, look, I can find an opening. I'm not stupid enough to rush in with my chin up. I think she gets it done. I think Kayla Harris gets it done. I do think she's the best fighter in that division currently. I think when she does get to that championship level, I think she keeps winning, gets that championship level. Will her stand-up be enough of a problem for them not to get absolutely destroyed? I think she will. I think on the ground, she's the best out there. So I think she gets it done. I think it is a sub for Kayla Harrison. It really just hypes her name up even more than it is already. I don't see how, once it's on the ground, Harris has got it nailed, to be honest with you. If you give her 2 minutes on the ground, we're getting a submission or some big damage at least. And that's the thing. She's very large for the division. Okay, they may make the same weight, but the weight cut, obviously, she cuts. It looks like she cuts more weight. In Holly Holm fight, she looked big. So that helps her as well on the feet. I don't see how the stand up actually helps Vera in this fight. So I think submission by Kayla Harris. On to the next fight of Aldo versus Batista. So looking at this, a lot of people think that Aldo's going to win, but actually the bookies think that Batista's going to win. I think actually Batista's going to win this. To be honest with you, I think Aldo's at 38, much younger man Batista. Aldo's had a hard career. I mean, he's been at that top level, taking shots from top guys, powerful shots. He has done very well recently. He's got a good few wins, but at some point you've got to think that something's going to catch up with you. You're 38 years old. There's not many fights left in there. It will be one fight where it catches up with you quite quickly. I think in the terms of Aldo, I think some fighters it develops slowly. And I think Aldo actually is going to develop very quickly. He's 38, he's still doing well, but that just means that cliff is a cliff. It's not just a hill that he's going to roll down. It's going to go straight down. I think Batista's quick. I think he's quick. I think he stayed safe enough on the ground enough to get through anything going through a scramble. I think he just keeps the pressure up. I think, look, can Aldo at this age cope with that pressure for 3 rounds? It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be very tough. Let's not forget Aldo is the most experienced guy. That's the thing that will win him the fight, the experience, the other things. And maybe the experience helps him keep the stamina going throughout 3 rounds. Maybe that's it. I do think, though, it's going to be very difficult. And I think the experience compared to, my body can't actually do this anymore is a problem for Aldo. And look, Aldo won 2 years ago, or maybe even 6 months ago. I say Aldo wins this, but I've got a feeling somebody's going to, and also the thing is, Batista's good at counters. You are half a second slower now than you were 6 months ago, which isn't impossible. Not half a second, but that you're a step slower. Them counters are, Batista's happy to get the counters going. I think the pressure's going to put him to try and back up Batista at some point with a punch of some sort, and I think that just gets countered. And I don't think he gets KO'd. I think it's a decision for Batista, but I think, look, it does show one of the real legends of the game, to be honest with you. Real top guys, definitely Hall of Fame. Been an amazing champion back in the day, and has, in a sense, come back to, to be honest, I think if he wins this, he's probably getting a contender. I wouldn't be surprised. So to do that at 38 after, the Conor loss, that was many, many, many years ago, and we thought maybe Jose Aldo's career's gone now. It's not. He's come back. He's done so much better than Conor, really, in terms of staying his career and trying to get back and building something again. And it's quite incredible. I mean, for sure, Hall of Fame, and I think he deserves an award for how much he's continued with the UFC and how much he's put in. I don't think there's many other fighters who could say that, look, I was champion in it, 10 years on, say, and I think I'm pretty close to that statement, 10 years, without looking. 10 years on from a Conor McGregor loss, I'm near a contender fight. So yeah, fair enough to Aldo. Happy for either of these guys to win, but if Aldo wins, look, it's quite special, and Batista wins, I think he will, and that's my point. But I think Batista gets these counters done, and he's very good at them. So I think that's the problem. So decision for Batista. On to the co-main event for it's a 5-rounder, obviously. Pennington versus Pena. I think this fight will go to Pennington, to be honest. Going to be a hard fight for Pena, coming back really straight into a very tough fight. 2 years off. Last win in 2021. Obviously, last time out, lost against Amanda Nunes after beating her in 2021. So really a rematch that she lost. I think the problem is Pennington's been active. She's been active. She's been getting win after win. The confidence is there. Pena, yeah, okay, she may have been in the gym, but getting into that fight, straight into a 5-round, straight in that, is my stamina what it was 2 years ago, say? Am I as physically fit? Am I as on it as before? You can be in the gym, but fighting someone has no replacement in that cage, and Pena's had nothing but fights, to be honest with you, compared to Pena. She's been fighting, she's been active. There's no question of the problem where she's been out the cage. So Pena being out the cage, I think, is the stamina in a real fight still there? Is she able to get people to the ground as she used to be? This sport is ever evolving, and to be honest, the speed at which the evolution happens is more fast at the women's divisions, mainly because they came in later than the men's MMA, and so the speed at which it develops is a lot faster still. It will slow down. It will slow down to it the push that the men's game has. To be honest, the evolution that the men's game has. But currently, I think it is faster. I think you have, the last real, Amanda Nunes going through everyone. Really, that going through everyone and not really having a challenger is showing that it's still at a very fast rate of evolution, because there isn't them challengers that can actually beat people. Whereas actually you get someone like PEREIRA who has lost. He has lost against Izzy. There are fighters out there. Okay, Tom Aspinall may not have lost, but how many men's champions haven't lost currently? I think you would find it hard to find any that haven't lost their title at some point. And yeah, Pereira's lost a title. Okay, may not have lost it light heavyweight yet, but Tom Aspinall hasn't lost his title. But these guys haven't had that many fights. When you think about it and the rotation, I do think that Pena being active is really key. And I think you find this, that if you haven't been in that ring actually fighting someone purely out of the 5-round pure fight, you don't know the person, which in these gyms you probably know the person you're fighting and training with, because you need to be safe. You can't be getting a cut, and getting injured for how long. Telling the UFC I don't know how long I'm injured for, or I'm out for a year, it doesn't help your situation. So I think it's going to be hard. I think Pena's ready. Pennington's ready. She's ready to defend takedowns. I think she'll hold back some stuff. She'll first round get a few good shots off, not put everything into them, but get a few shots off to win the round. And from there, she knows she's got a round at the bank. I need to defend them takedowns, and I won't put everything into them shots. I think it's volume. I think it gets them points away from Pennington until she is desperate. And I think it could end up with a KO in the later rounds, but I do think my decision, I think it's a decision for Pennington at the end of the day. So, getting on to the main event, PEREIRA versus Roundtree. So, to be honest, I don't see this going any other way. I think most people, if you look at any other previews on this, or any other thoughts of UFC fans about this, I don't see how PEREIRA doesn't get this done. I think it's very tough for Roundtree getting such a push up after I think his last fight was a win against Anthony Smith. To get that much of a push up to a title fight shows that, realistically we need that sort of, someone at the top of that division. To be honest, we need PEREIRA fighting someone who is championship level, and I think the only place you go for that now is Tom Aspinall at heavyweight. I think you make that super fight after this fight. unless you have someone who comes in and you go, okay, that can provide a challenge to Pereira. But even then, I think you're going to be waiting too long, where Pereira wants to still be probably active. I think Roundtree is very tough. He likes to stand up. He likes to play stand-up game. He doesn't really like to go on the ground very much. I think that's going to be tough against Pereira. I think Pereira is the king of stand-up. I don't think you, especially at light heavyweight, it's going to be very tough for you to go, yeah, I'm going to outpoint or outpunch Pereira. I think he's just done it too much. He's done it at the top of the game. He's done it top level champions and things, and he's knocked them all out or knocked them all down or done something where they get scared of the stand-up. And I don't think Roundtree has the game to go down onto the ground against Pereira without getting caught. I think it's very tough. I think Pereira's got so many weapons. It's very hard for you to change up your abilities, getting a fight. I think probably Roundtree's got this a bit too early for him, but in a sense, the division has called for it. And no way would you ever say no to a title fight, no matter who it's against, really, I don't think. I don't see how Pereira doesn't get this done early. I think it's just so tough that you go against a guy who's so confident, had that many fights on the stand-up, he's seen everything. The only way I can see is you getting him down, but even then, over 5 rounds, is Pereira not going to touch you with something that sort of goes, I don't feel comfortable anymore? And as soon as you start feeling not comfortable in there with Pereira, that's 30 seconds away from getting knocked out. So I think Pereira gets it done, KO, TKO, and I think then it's on to a Tom Aspinall super fight, hopefully. I don't see how it's not. I think you're pushing some guys very quickly into that title picture for Pereira to fight, and I think this is going to be a sort of a thing where this super fight comes up straight away after this fight, after a win for Pereira that looks semi-easy. That Tom Aspinall is the only real challenger for Alex Pereira. So please let me know, guys, what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.